income for you or your children. Portico Invest offer an end-to-end solution for all your property investment needs, so you can sit back and relax with a fully managed, hassle-free service. We focus on major city centres and UK regional hotspots, offering personalised strategies and tailored property advice. We're a one-stop shop and your personal advisor, empowering your investment journey and making property investment simple. The first step is to book a call and clarify your investment priorities. We'll then review the current properties that match your criteria before providing detailed research and guidance throughout the process, with support from expert legal and financial professionals along the way. So to find out how you can start maximising your returns, register now to get the ball rolling with Portico.
Hi everyone. Good evening on this fine Tuesday as we get closer to Christmas and closer to ultimately 2025, where everyone's goals and ambitions, hopefully all come to fruition and we push things forward for anyone that's looking to invest with us into next year. So let me get started by sort of introducing myself. You've just seen a really nice introduction to Portico Invest, so at least that just gives you a bit of an idea as to who we are, what we do, and the type of services that we offer. And we'll talk more about that as we go into this evening. So my name's Daniel Pennington. So I'm the managing director for Portico Invest. We have a team of very, very experienced professionals across our headquarters in central London and also in our northern office as well. So there'll be an opportunity as we go through this presentation to book in your meeting, your consultation, which again we'll talk more about as we go through the next sort of 40 to 45 minutes. You've also got a chat box that you can pop in any questions that you need to pop in. We have someone managing that on the back end. So feel free to ask what you need to ask as we go, or at the end, there'll be an option for a Q&A anyway. So I would like to start by sharing the presentation that I can talk through as we go. And the most important part of this evening is the live launch around our project in Leicester city centre. So there's a lot to go through this evening. We've got a lot of people that have dialed in from so many different countries as well. I can see Nigeria here, a lot of people from the UK, a lot of people from the Middle East. We've got people in Hong Kong, people in South Africa, Johannesburg, Cape Town, going back to Nigeria, Abuja, Lagos. So we've got multiple nationalities with us tonight, all looking to sort of understand the steps to take on this investment journey ultimately. So what I'll do now is share the screen, walk you through all of the information surrounding who we are, the services, and like I said, most importantly, the live launch. So about us, really, that's something that I've just touched on, the office locations, who we are as a company. We've got a very experienced team of professionals that can help you ultimately build your property portfolio. Whether that's 1, 2, 5, 10 properties, that's what we're here to ultimately help you with all the way through to the end. Okay. Now, about me. So I'm not going to bore you too much with the details, but ultimately it's important to know that, not just me, but the rest of the team have a wealth of experience. Hence why they are able to provide you the best opportunities in the marketplace. They'll be able to guide you and sort of ultimately make you understand how to use your money wisely and how you can make money from your money ultimately. So I have 20 years plus experience in the property space. So I've spent 5 years working in the Middle East. I lived in 5 years in the Middle East, and in the UK, a lot of my experience has been around off-plan, new build, multiple performing cities across the UK that ultimately deliver high returns, quality, capital appreciation, and so on and so on. And my job here, as MD for Portico, is to drive the business forward, work with the people that we have in place, grow the business. And that's all done from people like yourselves looking to invest in property, that we can ultimately help you over the next 5 to 10 years and longer. So the about section is very much covered off now. What's really important is we like to present the Portico way to our clients. So we have a very consultative approach with our clients. And what's really important here is that we're not just a company that basically receives an inquiry and makes a call and hopes for the best. We're here to look out for your best interest, to help you move along the journey, and build a relationship that is long lasting. We're not here for just the sale. We're here to help you and guide you, and help other people that you may know, family, friends, and so on and so on. So what we do is, you can see in the top left corner, services at a glance. I'm not going to reel them all off. You can see this, and this presentation is recorded, so we can share this with anyone that can't stay the entire time. Hopefully you can, and I'll try and keep the energy where it needs to be and keep everyone engaged. But the main things here that we're looking at are the 4 points at the bottom of this slide. So we help strategy build. Now, what does that mean? So that ultimately means that if you are a first-time investor, we will help you locate the right project in the right location. We will guide you through the cash flow and what you need to do and what the returns look like, what you need to pay, what you don't need to pay, whether it's beneficial to buy it in a limited company or a personal name, and so on and so on. And ultimately what that does, not only does it help educate you, by the way, for free, opposed to having to go and pay for property classes and so on and so on, it also puts you in a position where you're almost building up for the next investment. And the next investment is going to be paid for by the first investment, okay? And as simple as that sounds, it is very much a case of buying it pre-launch, building up appreciation, releasing that appreciation in way of equity, using that equity to invest in property number 2 and continue that cycle, okay? So that is the strategy building element of it. Hand-picked development. So Portico, the USP for our company is that we work exclusively with developers across the UK, proven developers, great track record, well-funded. We have 3 sites that are coming up to completion in Q2 next year and 1 at the end of next year. So, everything about us is very much credible. We look after our clients, we protect our clients, we work with the right developers. We are not like some of our competitors who will sell the same project alongside 20 different companies. We have exclusivity with our developers, and that is absolutely crucial to our business model, okay? So that means you're working with the right company. Now, we also have access to financial institutions, and what I mean by that is that we work with the right mortgage brokers across the UK and internationally that work with the right lenders that can provide you with the right product, okay? So regardless of whether you're from the UK or whether you're from Africa or the Middle East or Turkey, we have a mortgage broker that will know exactly how to deal with your situation. Whether that is a slightly lower loan to value that you will get from the bank, it might be to do with the fund transfer. Again, we can guide you in the right direction with all of this, okay? So any of the clients that are on here this evening that think that they can't get a mortgage in the UK or they can't release equity in the UK, well, you're wrong, okay? And that's because you can do both of those things, okay? You can get a mortgage with, a 60, 65% loan to value. You can release equity every 2, 3, or 5 years, and you can use the equity to buy more property. And the same with every other nationality, okay? So that's really, really important. And we offer a turnkey service, okay? Now, that sounds quite simple, but ultimately, we will sell you the property, we will manage the property, we will help you in the future look at a resale, we will help you set up a limited company, we will help you with the mortgage side of things via our brokers, and we will guide you in the right direction all the way through to the end. And that will continue for however long that we have that relationship for as we grow your portfolio, okay? So that's really, really important. So moving on. Now, this to me is really exciting, okay? Because you have to work with the right company that are credible, that have some fantastic Trustpilot reviews, We have 150 of them as of this morning. Maybe there's a couple more there after today. But we have 150 Trustpilot reviews. We're rated 4.9, excellent. All of our clients are from all walks of life, loads of different nationalities. You know, a lot of our consultants have been highlighted in these Trustpilot reviews. There may be some clients here tonight that are actually in the process of working with one of our consultants, and that consultant is someone that has had multiple Trustpilot reviews already. Okay, so you can bear that in mind as well. All right. Now, the buying process. Now, for any of you guys here in the UK, I'm sure for any of you active investors, you don't need to I don't need to teach you how to suck eggs, is the saying here in the UK. I don't need to explain what's included, but for you first-time investors and even for you seasonal investors, the process that we follow is very different, okay? And that's because we have our initial meeting. So we have an initial qualification meeting, which is very much a telephone call, understanding your criteria, your motivation, requirements, and so on and so on. We will then book you in for a meeting, a strategy meeting, and that will be via Zoom or Teams. And we're able to then present to you really some of what I'm presenting to you now, as well as the development, the cash flows, and then understanding whether there's a decision at the end of it. And that cycle is between 7 and 14 days. Okay. So what we do is we have the initial call, the first meeting, the second meeting, and the decision. And we follow that process to make sure that the clients feel comfortable, everything's been covered. And if you get to the second or the third stage and think, wait a minute, I've got some concerns, or maybe I need to go back to the first stage of the meeting again, maybe I need to understand the process again, which we can do, no problem, right? It's making sure that no stone is unturned and everything has been covered, and it's clear in your mind before you part ways with your hard-earned money, regardless of where it's come from, okay? Now, once you finalize a property, you will then go through to the legal side of things, okay? So we've got a dedicated team that will onboard you. They will instruct you with our recommended lawyers, which, by the way, the lawyers that we work with, they are SRA regulated here in the UK, okay? They know exactly what they're doing, and they know the projects inside out, which is why it's always super important to work with a law firm that knows the project, they know what they're talking about, and also they can exchange within the 28-day period that we require as a company. Now, you will be onboarded, you'll be moved through that legal process. We'll be here to hold your hand all the way through it and understand the steps to take over week 1 to week 4. You'll exchange contracts within 28 days. You will then get the construction updates every 8 weeks, okay? We have a really, really fancy construction update schedule for all of our projects. Every 8 weeks, you get a phone call, okay? And you get a marketing mail, and you'll also get maybe a WhatsApp or a message with the brochure that we prepare, okay? So for me, a mailer is okay once you've exchanged on a property, but is a mailer enough? No, it's not. You need to have that verbal communication with your clients so they know that you're still there, you're a human, you're not an email, and you can help build that relationship all the way up to completion. So that's really, really important. Now, arranging finance. So obviously we're not mortgage brokers, we're not CMAP qualified, but we work directly with our mortgage brokers that can put you in the right direction, but they will also hold your hand and find you the best products 3 to 6 months before completion, okay? Now, letting support. So we work with a company called Addressed. They're very, very close to us. Now, this company, they are absolutely incredible at what they do. They can basically, again, take you from completion through to the full management element of it. And they will basically place the tenants and the return will start from there, okay? So everything's where it needs to be. And the next steps are very much what you decide to do next. When you are looking to buy the next property, and your referrals that you can share across with us as well. And by the way, we'll pay £1,000 referral fee for anyone that wants to refer a client to us that are looking to buy a property. Okay, so that's the process. Really, really important. Now, this one for me is also a really exciting one because I feel like this is missed quite a lot of the time when, regular agents in the marketplace speak with investors, whether they think they know this or not. These are 6 fundamentals that are absolutely vital to your investment journey. And the first one is supply and demand. Okay. So whenever you focus on a key city, whether it's Liverpool, whether it's Leicester, Birmingham, Manchester, London, these places are performing cities. Okay. So you've got to remember that performing cities basically attract people, right? So that means that you've got a population of an amount that is increasing year on year based on companies that are moving from the south, London, to the north, cheaper, with also HS2 that will come into play over time that will reduce that connection time. Doesn't matter where you are in the north, it will naturally reduce that connection time, okay? Even though it stops at Birmingham. So what I'm trying to get at here is the demand outweighs the supply. There needs to be more properties for the population. People can't afford to just buy, like you and I here this evening. People can afford to rent, right? And there's a big demand for that. Affordability, again, is key when we look at the cities that we sell in. We look at the age we look at the age range. We look at the demographic of people. We look at the jobs that they work in, the salaries that they earn. They have to earn a certain salary to be able to pass the references, and so on and so on. Okay. Key movements here. The obvious is the Bank of England base rate has reduced this year. We're at 4.75 from 5%. It's expected to go down again. Inflation went down. Okay, it crept up a little bit last month. It's coming back down again. But the Bank of England have got their target, which is back down to a really good position of circa 3% by the end of next year, which means that whatever you buy, whether it's 6 months, 12 months away from completion, you're going to be in a much better position financially because the base rate is lower, which in turn means your interest is lower. Okay. So the key movements are key. Capital growth, you buy really simple. You buy early investor price, pre-launch, and you get appreciation between now and completion. And then that is equity that ultimately, when you come to remortgage your property at the end of the 2-year, 3-year, 5-year term, you're in a position then where you've built up a level of equity that you can then release and go and invest in property number 2 or 3. Okay. So that's really, really important. Anyone that questions capital appreciation, what I'd say to that is back yourself up with, and back up really, I'm the person, that's presenting those stats, i.e. me. You want to back that up with factual evidence. That's Savills, JLL, Knight Frank, the big industry players that report on this type of thing on a day-to-day basis. We can see what those stats look like. All right. Rental growth and yields, exactly the same, really. Capital growth, yields, as capital growth goes up, rental yields go up, rents increase, all of the time. And which obviously helps with the percentage overall that you'd be looking to see as a return. And social and economic changes, again, there's a lot going on within the marketplace, not just in property, but in all sorts of aspects of general day-to-day life, whether that's the government, whether that's new companies opening up, whether that's new schools. There's all sorts of different things that will help drive areas perform better, especially if they are in regeneration zones, like some of our projects. Okay. Now, our partners. So what I've discussed already is that we have Addressed, who are our rental partners. So they'll manage the properties that we sell. We work very, very closely with them. Everything's where it needs to be. We've got the cash flows. We have the rental figures, the forecasts. We have everything. Okay. We work with a company called IPFG, who are our mortgage brokers. And these guys are our mortgage brokers for a reason. They are international property financial brokers. Okay. So it doesn't matter where you're from. Obviously, sanctioned countries are a problem, right? But the countries that are not sanctioned, we can arrange finance for. Okay. We can even arrange finance for people in Zimbabwe. We can arrange finance for people in Ghana, in Zambia. We can get 50-55% loan to value. So for anyone here from those countries, book your meeting because there's an opportunity to, really understand a bit more. And UK landlord tax, this is the company that we will allow to set up your limited company, buying a property here in the UK. And those guys can walk you through what happens and the benefits and so on and so on. However, we also have the benefits. So as part of your consultation, we can walk you through what that looks like. Okay. Now, that's the piece around who we are, what we do, the market at a glance. Any questions as we go, like we've said in the chat box, please feel free to fire away, and I'll answer them towards the end of this evening. Now we come on to the why Leicester, okay? And the why Leicester's a really, really important one, because for anyone that has bought in Leicester, I mean, I'll ask the question, have you? Does anyone have a property in Leicester? Does anyone have a property in Liverpool that they have reserved or they have completed on? They're getting a return. Pop your messages in the group and let's answer. Let's see, you know, who has what. Someone here has a property already in Leicester. Great. So is that city? No, looks like it's a little bit further out of the city centre based on the postcode. Someone has a property in Liverpool in the city centre. Great. You know, so, you know, there's people here that have bought in these cities that we're selling, and there's a reason why they've bought in these cities. Okay. So why Leicester? So the proof is in the pudding from what you can see here, that Leicester is one of the most attractive residential property investment markets in Britain. Now, that's a very, very bold statement, okay? But we can back that up with figures, with stats. You know, the price point that we have this particular project at is reflective of Leicester when you compare that to the likes of Manchester, for example. You know, but it's such an attractive city because of so many reasons that we'll discuss on the next few slides. The webinar will be recorded. There was a question asked from Ibrahim. Yes, it will be recorded, and yes, it will be shared. So what we can see here is the economic overview of Leicester. Okay. Now, Leicester is the East Midlands. Okay. It's still a couple of hours away from London, but yes, that's important. But what's more important is how close it is to some of the key northern cities, okay? Now, you've got an economy valued at £24.5 billion, okay? The growth target is around 5.7 billion per year by 2030. That means that we'll have over a 50 to 60 million pounds economy within that period over the next 4 or 5 years, okay? Now, we also have around 30,000 jobs that will be created by 2030, which again helps with the population, helps with the demand, helps with so many different things, including this particular project that I'm going to launch tonight. And there's also a forecast of 34,800 people arriving to live as a resident by 2030. £650 million per annum, the economy around the visitors, okay, that arrive here. And the student population has one of the largest, actually, 60,000 across 3 universities. Now, you think about rental demand, you think about the overseas students, the UK students, the growth, the demand is absolutely incredible. And ultimately, major investments being East Midlands Freeport, building funds, and so on and so on. So there's so much regeneration happening in Leicester that will only help you generate much higher equity over a period of time, okay? Now, the property market overview, there's 4 key points here to consider. The first one being the average house price in Leicester is around 225,400. Now, don't take that as an absolute certain, because this basically is a wide area of Leicester as a whole in terms of the overall postcode towns. And it takes an average, just like whether it's on Rightmove or Zoopla, you get this average of your property price. But actually, that isn't true to fact, because, you know, the projects that we sell, they're new build, right in the city centre of Leicester city centre, right next to the football stadiums, the hospitals, the universities. So that, you know, naturally has a slightly higher price point in some cases than that of a house that's maybe 3 or 4 miles away. Okay. Average house price growth in 2023 was just below 0.4%. And the average rental growth is around 9.7% year on year, which is incredible when you think about what your value or the value of your property will look like from a rental piece over the next 2, 3, 4 years. And average yields up to around 6.7%. Ours are closer to that 6.7% than they are of the lower end of 4.6. And again, if you book your meeting, you'll understand more around the cash flow. Property prices and yields, again, we've touched on this. There's a bit of information here that you might want to read whilst we're on this slide for the next 15 seconds or so. But ultimately, it just gives you a good indication as to what the land registry is telling us. Bear in mind, the land registry is most likely around 3 to 6 months backdated because it doesn't get updated on a regular basis, meaning that we'll have a bit more of a definitive answer around what 2024 look like in 2025. Okay. Property prices, again, according to Zoopla, it's an okay platform. You know, it gives us the sort of averages that we need. But you can see here from January 2024, the average price was 225, £500. And that compares against the estimate across the UK of 264, 500. Okay. But again, when you're buying new build off plan, you cannot compare that with older resale properties, whether it's freehold, leasehold. New build is its own cost center, if you like, right? So that's what you need to compare that against new build. Okay, so again, some more information around property yields that we've touched on already, rental prospects, what we can expect based on the stats that I've provided already around the population increasing, the additional residents. By 2050, we're looking at 187,000 new households as well. You know, so there's some really, really, really punchy numbers here over the next, 3, 4, 5, 15 years. Okay. And then we have a summary. So the summary here is basically just highlighting exactly what we've discussed around why Leicester, why investments, what's coming, and why this is such a great city to invest in. Okay. So now this is an opportunity for you to book your meeting. Okay. Now, within the next 48 hours, we want you to book in your meeting. You have a pop-up here at the bottom left of your screen. You pop in your details, meet with one of our dedicated consultants. Let us talk you through everything that we've gone through today, go through the cash flow, go through the numbers, talk about why this is such an important investment for you, and how we can really help you grow your portfolio. So please book. Don't forget, this is a free consultation. We're not here to charge you. We're here to give you that support, that guidance, and hopefully we'll get you to a point where we can, secure a property, whether that's now, whether it's in a month, 3 months. Let us be your point of contact. So please book away. Okay. Now, we welcome Vera Mitchell. Okay. So this is a fantastic launch of the evening. What I would like to do is share a short video for you to watch, a bit of an intro into the project. Angela, yes, we do have properties in Liverpool. We have 2 projects in Liverpool, which I can see that Graham is answering now. But Leicester is our real drive this evening. But feel free, book your meeting and we can discuss that in more detail. Okay. So let me share a quick video, give you a bit of a 2-minute intro into this project, and we'll take it from there, guys. So we can see here is the main rendering of the project. We have the external space all around, and this building as well, Vera Mitchell, is positioned, as I'd mentioned earlier, it's positioned not too far from the football stadium. You can see that from afar, and we'll see that on the plans as we move forward. You've got the hospitals, which are literally just behind. You've got the universities, and you've got the train stations that are all walkable. So this could not be any more central than it currently is. What's really important as well, as you sort of watch this this clip here, is that we have a project by the same developer that is just down the road. We're talking 5 or 6 minutes away, and it's called Northgate. This project, it's fully complete. It's occupied. The price points were reflective of when we were selling this back in early 2023. The values of the rental properties for one beds upwards of around £1,100 to £1,200. We have live tenancy agreements in place. We have completion statements to back up the evidence as well for this particular project. And we can use this evidence when really presenting Vera Mitchell to you, because there isn't really anything apart from the older style developments that you can compare Vera Mitchell with. But we can compare it with Northgate, which has already gone through survey. It's gone through the mortgage applications. Banks have borrowed to the investors because the values have stacked up, and the rental amounts that are being achieved are actually higher than what we expected at the start. So this investment is an absolute no-brainer, okay? Now, let me just move to the correct slide again, and then we'll continue on with this evening. So, an impressive new build project. So this project completes in Q2 of 2025. Okay, so it's coming up very close to completion, which is really, really positive. We have a mix of one-bedroom units across the building. There's no 2 bedrooms. There's no 3 bedrooms. They're all 1 bedroom. Okay. The price points can vary from that 170, 250 all the way up to 260, 750. Invest from £51,000. Return capital on the investment return, you can see here, is around 20% over a period of time. And there's some images there that you can see as well. Okay. Now the overview, right? So you can read this as I go. I'll really just highlight some of the most important points for you to consider. There are 7 floors. There's 122 apartments in here and 117 one-bedroom and 5 studio apartments. Okay, fantastic views, 360, not in that particular apartment, by the way. The building itself, if you're higher up, you walk around the floor plate, you've got a different viewpoint of south, north, east, west. Okay, there's a 999-year lease, which is always very attractive. Low service charges in comparison to some developments out there, with a completion date, as mentioned already, of Q2 2025. Okay. So this is the floor plate that I was referring to. So here we've been able to position the viewpoints. Okay. Now, as much as this doesn't highlight everything that we would like it to highlight, it just gives you a real ballpark, indication as to which way it's facing. So you've got city centre, as you can see there, over on above the northeast side. You've got the northeast view, which is Green Gateway Street, city centre, and the hospital, for anyone that knows Leicester really well. You've got the southeast view, which is Winifred Street, hospital, River Sour. Okay. And then you've got the southwest over towards the football stadium, River Sour again, and northwest over the church and over Jarham Street. So we'll be a bit more visual with the viewpoints, with the aspects. Once you book in your meeting, we can go through that detail so you can see exactly which way certain units are facing. Now, here you will see some of the internal images. So you'll see the quality is fantastic, through the main hallway, into the living space, into the kitchens, the bedrooms. The quality, the materials that we've used here are all very, very top high quality. Okay. The kitchens are fully integrated as well, which is always a real plus, although a lot of new build do have integration now anyway. And the bathrooms are very, very well designed as well. So this is very attractive for that, professional, whether it's a doctor, a nurse, a surgeon, someone that needs to live close to work, hospital or university. This is absolutely key. Okay. Now, this is the specification list. And again, I'm not going to bore everyone with the details. It's here. You can see it in front of you, and we can share this spec in a bit more detail. Okay. But it really just gives you a true reflection as to what everything is within the apartments. Location and accessibility. So key distances here, we have Loughborough, 10 miles away. We have Coventry, 21 miles away. Nottingham, 22. Derby, 24. And Birmingham, 35 miles away. Okay. So you've got access to all the main motorways. You can access all of the northern cities really easily. London is obviously closer to Leicester than it is to Manchester or Liverpool. It takes less time to get there, which is great. But it's very much in a central spot as an investment. Okay. Now, construction update, because you need to know what I'm talking about is there, right? You know, it's being built, the developers progressing the way that they're expected to, the contractors are on site, everything's moving as it should do. Now, this is the latest construction update. So this was produced only 10 days ago now, which was since the last update we had around 8 weeks ago. You can see here that the site's progressing really, really well. We've got a detailed update in terms of where we are, in terms of scaffolding, wind protection, and so on. Okay. We also have a second page here around the ventilation. Ducting is now complete, all the way down to the brickwork complete to the ground floor and the 5th floor roof garden. Okay. So really important for you investors that, you know, maybe you've bought properties already. You're not really too sort of you know, in the loop with where your project is up to in the construction stage. What you get from us is transparency. Every 8 weeks, the phone call, the email, the WhatsApp, the information, you know what you're buying is coming to fruition at the time that it should come to fruition. Okay. So the investment payment structure. Okay. So really important to highlight this, just so everyone's aware of what's involved in this process. Now, anyone that reserves a property with us, they pay a holding fee of £750. Okay. Now, of that £750, what happens is we then put you through an AML process, which means that we put you through an anti-money laundering process, like the lawyers do whenever you process your transaction via a law firm. So we will do an ID check, an address check, look at the bank statements, make sure everything's where it needs to be. And if anything, that helps with the process before you go to the lawyers. Now, once you pass AML within 24 hours, you will then pay a reservation fee of 5% of the property value, less the £750. Okay. Then you have a balance of 25% to pay on exchange, which is 28 days post reservation. So that means that you'll have a total of 30% down as an exchange deposit. And the balance then, if there needs to be a balance, will come from the bank on completion. And then you'll complete. Okay. In Q2 of 2025. So investment criteria. Here we have 3 steps. So the first step, and this is based on an average price of £220,000. Although we do have access to cheaper units within this building, we've gone for that mid-range. Okay. So your 5% reservation fee is around £11,000. That's based on a £220,000 property. You exchange contracts on £44,000, meaning that that's a total of 25% paid. And step 3 is the balance via the mortgage or cash on completion. So if you're a client from Africa, you know that you can only achieve around the 60% loan to value. Then that means you're putting between 25 and 30% down on exchange, but you need to find maybe another 5% by completion to be able to get that loan to value from the bank. Okay. So another opportunity to book your consultation. So as I said before, please, this is free, right? You know, we can guide you. We can put you in touch with the right people outside of us to really help you understand the process. And basically, like I said before, whether you're looking to reserve right now or next year, let's have a chat. Let's go through all of the different criteria for you. And move things forward from there. So please book. There's quite a few slots that have been booked up now. We've not got that many left over the next 48 hours or so. So anyone on the edge, on the fence, thinking, I'd like to do this, but I need some more information, just book it. You know, it's half an hour, 40 minutes of your time. Let's go through that and understand, you know, what steps to take after. Okay. Please book away. Don't end tonight without booking your meeting. So now we move on to the cash flow. Okay. So here we have a version of a long-term cash flow. Now, for anyone that can't see the actual detail here, don't worry, it will be shared and I'll talk you through it as best as possible just now. And then we can take it from there after this evening. So what we have is a basic cash flow for a 1-bedroom long let. This is a normal 6-month or a 12-month tenancy. Okay. So here we have the property details of Unit 8, which is a 409 square foot unit. The developer's price is £210,000 for this property, or 210,750. Early investment price of 189,500, and then we have a deposit on exchange of 30%, which totals that amount of 56,850. Mortgage required of 132,650. Meaning there's a discount from the developer's price to the investment price of 21,250. Just before we go any further, we've labelled the cash flow incorrectly. So this is actually a short-term forecast, which is okay because the next one is long-term. But this is based on 75% occupancy, short-term, Airbnb. These are the numbers, okay? So you've got the unit, you've got the price, the discount of around 10%. We're being really, really generous, really nice here before Christmas, before the new year. We want some more sales here and we want you to take advantage of this. So what you'll see is you'll see year 1 to year 10, okay? Everything you see here in colour, in the colour red, all the way through is year 1 through to year 10. So ultimately, what we're looking at, without me going through every single year, and by the way, we can do that as part of the consultation, is what you're looking at here is your 5-year remortgage strategy and 5-year sales strategy, okay? So if you were to remortgage the property in 5 years, what that means is the estimated market value at that point is 263,378, okay? Meaning that you would remortgage the property at 70%. You deduct your current mortgage, the estimated 5 years net rental income that's being paid, meaning there's a total profit of £157,021, okay, on a remortgage, right? Bear in mind that includes your original deposit, it includes your the returns off the back of the rentals that have come through and the equity that you've built up over that period as well. And the sales strategy is exactly the same in terms of you releasing the funds, paying the bank back what you owe them, and then using the rest to go and invest in another property or take some for your own personal reasons, and the rest of it you can go back into your investment again, okay? So it's very, very simple process. Buy it pre-launch, build appreciation, benefit from the rental returns, resell the property later on, or just remortgage the property. If you remortgage, you don't have to go through that sort of rigorous process of the sale and so on and so on. If you sell it, then obviously you need to account for the capital gains tax that you'd pay on the profits, but you get back your original deposit and the returns that you've received over that period, okay? And again, book your consultation so we can talk you through the numbers in a bit more detail. But the most important thing here is based on a short let, okay? You would be looking at, let's say, a 25-year mortgage term, okay, which is pretty standard across the UK anyway. That's 300 payments at a mortgage rate of around 4.50%, and that's based on a UK client base, by the way. We're looking at upwards of, you know, closer to 6.5, 7% as we start going overseas to some countries. Middle East is around 5.5. But what that means is you've got a monthly repayment of around 497. But you're actually generating a rent of around £2,708. That's a gross rental income of 32,494 per year, okay? Per year. Let that sink in. And that's based on 75% occupancy. So if you want to generate nearly £2,700 per month and only pay back to the bank the £497 per month on your interest-only mortgage, and also build up appreciation and so on and so on, this is an absolute no-brainer, okay? So this is the short-term cash flow. Now, what we have here is the long-term, although it's labelled in the incorrect way, so apologies for that, but we have the long-term let here, which ultimately tells us exactly the same: the property, the developer price, the investor price, the discounts, and then it's got the mortgage term, it's got the mortgage payments. But the difference with this is that you'll generate £1,050 for your rental property, which is £12,600 per year, because you're renting it on a long let, 6 or 12 months. But you can have that sort of security of knowing that your rent is coming through. You're not having to rely on the Airbnb, the bookings, and so on and so on. It just depends on what you want to do. If you're a client that's overseas, you know Leicester well, or you want to get to Liverpool, or you've got a football match you want to attend in Leicester, then at least it gives you the opportunity to stay there yourself, as well as then maximize on the rental returns, okay? So either or, it comes down to what your motivation is and what you want out of this investment. But both of them provide a return, just not as attractive as the short let. But you've got the options, which is the most important thing. So hopefully that clarifies the cash flow. And as I said, let's get your meeting booked in. Let's go through the figures. Let's go through everything we need to do. And there's an opportunity there to secure one of these properties. Okay. Now, what we have is a 48-hour incentive. Okay. This is for the people that book in a meeting. Okay. We still have some slots available over the next 48 hours. Please book your meeting if you want to take advantage of an incentive that we will provide post meeting. Okay, you're getting investor discounts of 10% off the developer price, as mentioned before. The contribution that we will provide to you is £1,000 toward your legal fee. Okay, so we'll give you £1,000. It's Christmas, why not? That can help with the legals. It'll help with the cash flow. But there's other opportunities here that we can discuss and really tell you what those opportunities are. We also have another opportunity to book a meeting. Okay, so we're coming to the end of this evening now, and listen, I've really enjoyed speaking to everyone, seeing all of the people in the room this evening. Like I said before, there's a lot of nationalities with us today. Hopefully, based on the meetings that we've had booked in now, there's some really good opportunities for you to reserve a fantastic investment before the prices increase in the new year. Take advantage of the incentive, the discounts, the high returns, and really just a piece of Leicester, right? That's the most important thing. But you don't just get this investment, you get us for life for the next 5, 10, 15 years. We help you, we help your family, we help your friends, we help your colleagues. You can make a pretty penny off the back of that as well. We'll pay you £1,000 for every successful referral. But don't miss out this opportunity. We've got slots still available. We've got a great team. They're all chomping at the bit. They want to meet with you. It's free. Make it happen. Get yourself booked in. But listen, it's been a fantastic evening. I'm going to give you another opportunity to book a meeting. I'm going to share the introduction video again, so you can just see a bit more information around the building, the site, and then we'll take it from there. But listen, there'll be more and more of these webinars. We'll have 2 in January, 2 in February. They'll continue on. We'll have educational webinars. We'll have live launches. We've got some fantastic new projects being launched next year. If you all get in now, you book your meeting, you build that relationship, and we'll make sure you're on the mailing list. We'll give you exclusive access to our upcoming launches, which means that you'll always get there first. Okay, so listen, great to meet you all. I look forward to seeing you all again in the new year. Have a great Christmas, have a great new year, and we'll see you all again soon. But please, whilst the video's on, get your meeting booked in.
The Vera Mitchell Building in central Leicester is in the perfect location to tap into high levels of ongoing rental demand from quality tenants. It's almost directly adjacent to Leicester Royal Infirmary and only 200 metres away from De Montfort University, in an area where there's a huge undersupply of accommodation, causing rapid increases in short and long-term rental prices. There is a mix of one-bedroom and studio apartments available, with prices starting from around £170,000 and completion in 2025. Rental yields are among the best you can find on the market today, with returns of up to 15% per year from the short-term rental market. As master agents, Portico Invest can help you secure the best prices, offer help with UK mortgage lenders or setting up a limited company, provide a full property management service post-completion, and even develop a tailored strategy for building your portfolio. To get started or to find out the latest availability and pricing, register today and one of our investment team will be in touch.